Hello. Okay, so this week we had an amazing question, and I wanted to put it out on video so more people could hear the answer. But so the question was, what is estrogen dominance? What causes it? What do we do about it? Yeah, so kind of in a nutshell, we need to properly metabolize our estrogen, meaning that we need to break it down and we need to eliminate it out of the body. Otherwise, it will start to build up in the system. Okay, so estrogen is that hormone that defines us as female, right? Not to say men don't have it, but we women have estrogen and it defines us as, yeah, as women. So estrogen has a really tight partnership with progesterone. So if that partnership is out of balance, then we can have some struggles. So estrogen is the hormone that kind of builds up the uterine lining. Progesterone is the hormone that comes in and sheds it, hence having a period every month. Estrogen is the hormone that grows, say, tissue, breast tissue, right? And then progesterone is the guy who doesn't allow cysts to grow within that estrogen tissue, right? So they really set each other off. And another thing is estrogen will cause our body to retain water and salt, right? So a little bit of swelling and kind of like a little bit of edema, whereas our progesterone is a natural diuretic, so it sheds that. So you can see how they balance each other out, and it's quite a relationship. So we want that relationship to work. But what happens is if we are bringing in and getting exposed to too much estrogen, our estrogen levels rise because if our body's not able to metabolize it properly, right, break it down, get rid of it, then again, our estrogen levels are rising. So different things that contribute to these extra estrogen levels are diet, right? So our red meat and our dairy. If we are not sourcing these guys properly, we can get synthetic hormones and antibiotics in our system through these ways. Vegetables, another one. If we are not eating organic vegetables, we are getting different chemicals as well. And what happens? These synthetic chemicals have estrogen mimicking compounds. So really, they're like a look-alike chemical compound, and so they can bind and kind of clog up our estrogen receptors in the body, and then our actual estrogen that we make, our endogenous estrogen gets it's just free flowing through the body, just waiting to be eliminated, right? So that can contribute to extra estrogen levels is just diet. Another guy too is going to be your stress, right? Stress, cortisol, it blocks progesterone, right? So, and if we're blocking our progesterone, then we don't have anything that's keeping our estrogen levels in check, right? So if our estrogen's too low, our estrogen levels can just kind of rise and keep going, right? So that's really important, is to manage our stress. The other thing too is alcohol. Alcohol also contributes to higher cortisol levels, therefore messing around with that estrogen and progesterone balance too. Another part that's really important to look at is, what are we putting on our bodies, right? What are our personal care products? What do they contain? So many personal care type products can again have these estrogen mimicking chemical compounds within them. So what are we putting, what are we washing our hair with? What are our lotions, our potions, our body washes, deodorants, like all of that stuff? We have to look at that and see how it could potentially be contributing as well. The other thing too is our cleaning products. What are we cleaning our houses with? That's really important, right? We are putting these chemicals on every surface, and then we are going around touching them. We're walking barefoot on our floors. We are absorbing and getting these chemicals into our system long after the cleaning process too, right? So these guys again can contribute. These chemicals that look like estrogen can contribute to these estrogen levels rising in the system. Another one is going to be the pill, right? So the pill is a synthetic estrogen that we're putting into our bodies. So again, that is going to just increase the estrogen levels. Another one, unfiltered water, right? So we have a beautiful water filtration kind of setup in Canada, absolutely. But the problem is that we only filter out certain things, and we only test for certain things. So even though our tap water is deemed safe for drinking, right? Absolutely, it's safe in someone's standards, but that doesn't account for, all of the personal care products that are going down the sinks, or the chemicals that are going down our sinks. Another huge one that we don't talk about enough: prescription medications. Some people, when they don't finish their prescriptions, they're just putting it down the sink and washing it away, right? And so what ends up happening is that gets back into our water system because we're not filtering it out, and we're not even testing for these kinds of things. And so inevitably we're reintroducing them back into the body. So that's a big one. So yeah, the other guy is going to be slow digestion. So again, we need to be pooping every single day, right? It's a funny topic. We kind of laugh and giggle when we talk about it, but it is really important. And ideally more than once a day, right? But if we are constipated in any way, what we are doing is our body, right? That natural estrogen metabolism, where we are breaking it up and we're trying to get rid of it eliminate it through our stools. If we're not pooping every day, that gets recycled. That estrogen gets recycled back into the body. So just another way that we are just increasing those estrogen levels. So some different signs and symptoms to look for estrogen dominance are as follows. And I'm just going to read this off a list because there's a lot. So PMS, weight gain, fibrocystic breasts, fibroids, endometriosis, abnormal menstruation, fatigue, reduced sex drive, depression, anxiety, bloating, breast tenderness, mood swings, brain fog, insomnia. These are for women. And then we go to men, because yes, this is an issue for men as well, right? Men have estrogen in their body, definitely not to our levels, right? Estrogen is that hormone that defines women, but men do have it. So enlarged breasts, right? Those man boobs, that is too much estrogen in the body. Sexual dysfunction, infertility. So those are the men, or the symptoms for men, or signs, if you will. So another one that I haven't talked about too, is plastics, right? Plastics are full of chemicals, right? BPA is one that we talk about, and it's been out there, right? We took BPA out of our baby bottles and we did all this stuff. But what about BPB, BPC, right? BPA is not the only chemical. There are so many others. So plastics, get plastic out of your life. The flimsier the plastic, the more problematic it is. So to go back to that water, that filtration water, bottled water is not, it's an option sometimes, but it's not a great one, right? So know that our bottled water, it is being housed by this chemical plastic, and those chemicals inevitably are leaching into that water. And then on top of that, if you say out in the summer, the worst thing I see all the time is outside of a grocery store or something, maybe you're at a festival and there's all these plastic bottles of water just out in the sun. That is the worst. That sun heats up that plastic, and then you are just speeding up the leaching of these chemicals into the water, and then we're drinking it down. So really just be aware of that plastic, your Tupperware containers, all of that. That is a concern, and that is, those chemicals do look like estrogen mimicking compounds, right? So they are plugging up our estrogen receptor sites in the body and just contributing to this problem. So get the plastics out, okay? So kind of this is, we've kind of talked about what estrogen dominance is. We've talked about signs and symptoms, different, kind of environmental as well as dietary kind of causes. So really the biggest thing is let's reverse those, right? So a few ways to kind of balance this is going to be eat organic produce, right? That is so important. Get those chemicals out of your body. Don't stop reintroducing these chemicals, right? So that's number one. Get really good sources of protein and dairy if you choose dairy. Make sure grass-fed, organic, all of that stuff is important. The quality of the food that we put in our body is important for full body health, not just estrogen dominance. This is for everything, right? Your digestion. How can we get you regular? What does that look like? How do we get you pooping every day? On top of that, how do we maybe just support the liver a little bit more, right? The liver is our biggest detox organ. It is working day and night and doing so much for us. And sometimes we are just ignoring it and not loving it to the degree that it deserves, really. So getting a few like milk thistle, dandelion tea or dandelion supplements are awesome. Glutathione is a beautiful antioxidant that helps to kind of support the entire body. So different ways that we can support that liver to support digestion and to support our elimination. We want to be pooping every single day. All of that's important, right? So whenever we break anything down in our body's detoxing, which our body's doing every day, it's working really hard for us. But if we are not getting it out of the body, right, then that's going to be a problem. So a few different ways that we detox is going to be through eliminating through our stool, but also our urine, and then sweating. Right? So those are ways that you can help to manage this estrogen is sweat every day. How are we exercising? And then, yes, drinking lots of water, flush out those toxins through the urine. And again, making sure we're pooping. So those are important. And then just avoiding exposure, right? So switch. Now is a beautiful time to switch to a natural product. Right? There's so much out there. We are living in such an exciting time where we are more aware of these issues, right? So we have beautiful companies or individuals who are really creating great clean products for us to be using. So check that out. Go to your local health food store, To Pharmacy right here in Cochrane. Beautiful place to go. You can literally switch over everything, your lotions, your shampoos, your deodorants, all of it. We have access to it. So go and seek it out for sure. Yeah, so diet is a way, lifestyle, avoiding those chemicals and those plastics, and switching to natural. Those are all beautiful ways of starting to decrease the estrogen, the extra estrogen in the body, and then with that estrogen that we have, getting it out, right? So really working on that digestion. And so really one very simple and lovely tip to kind of just help to support our digestion, warm lemon water first thing in the morning is simple. It's easy to do. It's hydrating. And it is going to really be helpful to just kind of kickstart that digestion and help with some detox. So that is it. That's estrogen dominance in a nutshell. We covered a ton of information and I did it pretty quick. So if there's any other questions, if there's something that you felt like I missed or I was unclear on, please jump on, send me a message. I'd love to clear this up. I'd love to have more conversations. This is a huge issue. Another thing that I didn't touch on, but I would like to right now, is the inability to lose weight. Men and women alike, estrogen could be that culprit. So just another kind of sign that estrogen could be a problem. So yeah, anyways, it was awesome to chat with you guys and connect with you today. I hope this was helpful.